As we watch Olympic athletes reach incredible heights, swim fantastic lengths, and score impossible goals, we can't help but be in awe. But when it comes to personal finance, there's still some challenges for athletes out there. Joining me now to discuss navigating personal finances and building wealth as an athlete. A woman who needs no introduction, but I'll give her one anyway. Two-time Olympic gymnast and team captain. She has 3 Olympic gold medals, 2 silver and a bronze. She's also the author of the new book, From My Head to My Toes. It's Aly Raisman. Aly, thanks so much for taking the time here with us on Yahoo Finance.
Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be on.
Absolutely. Aly, let's just jump right into it here. I mean, we've been watching, spectating, and a lot of us wondering, especially here at Yahoo Finance, the second the spotlights, all of the stages and all of the rafters start to come down after the Olympics, it really becomes crunch time for a lot of athletes too, trying to figure out how to make that fame and make that moment in the spotlight really stretch. You know, how did you go about doing this successfully, and some tips that you would give to other athletes who are competing on this stage this year?
Yeah, I think what's really unique about being an Olympic athlete is for most of the sports, people tune in once every 4 years, and it's really hard to capitalize on that time because you're trying to figure out what deals to do, how to surround yourself with the right people. But I think I've been very fortunate where I have a really great support system, and I recognize a lot of people don't have that. So I have a really great family. I feel really blessed. And then I have a really great agency and a really great team that I've been with since I was 17 years old. And I think what I've learned is the most important thing is really being authentic to who I am, because I think this day and age with social media, the fans, rightfully so, are demanding more from us. They can tell if we're promoting something that we don't care about. And so that's something that I think about a lot. And I really try to stay true to my values and align myself with people and brands that I actually use and things that I actually care about.
That's a really great point, especially when you have so many young athletes that are coming into these brand partnership opportunities earlier on, and they're perhaps going into college or even still in high school, and companies approaching them saying, hey, it looks like you've got a bright future ahead. How would you like to help sell our cereal or something like that? And they're trying to figure out, well, do I actually align with this company? You know, what is kind of the checklist that you have to mentally go through when you're figuring out which company you want to work with?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's something that I feel very grateful. I've had so much experience since the age of 17 years old. I've been working with brands, and I'm just turned 30. So I feel like I've learned so much over the years, but I've kind of learned that it's so important to not be afraid to ask questions. And, you know, if I'm with a CMO or somebody who's in sales or someone, you know, if I'm lucky enough to get to chat with the CEO, I try to ask them as many questions. And I know sometimes asking questions can be overwhelming, but I kind of just told myself that I'm not going to be embarrassed to ask questions. I'm going to learn more. And so I think that way is a really good pulse to kind of figure out what their goals are, what their visions are. And then I really try to have some philanthropy component to any brand that I'm working with, as it's not just selling a product, it's what's the messaging behind it and what are we actually putting out there. And it's great because I think a lot of brands are really passionate about mental health. And so I try to do a lot of stuff like that, whether it's mental health, abuse prevention, body positivity, things that align with what feels right to me. And I feel like the brands that are receptive are usually the ones that end up reaching out. And it's been a really wonderful, and I've learned so much over the years, and I've been able to craft very long-term relationships, which is also something that's important to me.
You've got the relationships on the business side. You've got your book that's out as well. I mean, you're talking about streams of income here. So when you're really thinking across your overall holistic kind of division of your time, but also how you're making sure that you're generating wealth and building on that, are there any particular industries or ventures that really excite you right now about investing in the future?
Yeah, I'm very passionate about financial literacy. It's something that is so important to me. I think the topic of finances is so uncomfortable for so many people. And the reality is most people are not comfortable talking about it. And most people aren't comfortable asking questions about it. And so I am really trying to figure out what this next chapter looks like for me. And I really want to do more in the financial literacy space. I actually think mental health and financial literacy are correlated, because if you don't have confidence in yourself, how do we expect people to feel comfortable asking questions? And I want to empower the younger generation when they're in school to not feel embarrassed to ask a question, whether it's in math class or anything. And I think about this a lot when I talk to brands because especially in the world of Instagram where everything can be so filtered and kind of seem fake, I really want to be real and authentic to myself, but also for my own personal portfolio, I feel really fulfilled and it makes me feel intelligent and smart when I feel empowered to ask questions. So I also try to surround myself with people, whether it's in finance or somewhere else, that make me feel comfortable asking questions and will go through it and explain it to me. So I think about that a lot as well. But with my own portfolio, I've recently gotten into the venture capital world of investing small check sizes in companies that I believe in. I'm very passionate about women's health space. And because I'm not a doctor, I try to really lean on different experts, and I love learning, and it's been so fun.
I was just about to ask you something along those lines. Considering some of the investments that have been made public from your side and really focused around healthcare and mental health as well, I mean, that's a theme that's run throughout the women's gymnastics team. We've heard that Simone Biles even checking in with her therapist prior to some of the competitions over the course of this year too. I mean, could we see like a gold medal ventures or something like that among some of the Olympians like yourself and former teammates come about?
Maybe. I think that would be really cool. I think it's really great how so many athletes we're lucky to have access to a lot of really interesting deal flow and a lot of interesting opportunities. So I love to see so many different athletes getting into investing, and I feel really grateful that I'm able to learn so much from people who are so intelligent and so smart, have different expertises. I sort of took the last several years to do a lot of calls with founders, and I feel so lucky to have their time because I know they're so busy and they're doing so much and their job seems so stressful, but I feel so lucky that I kind of told myself I'm not going to be embarrassed about asking a question. There's no such thing as a dumb question. I'm sure they've heard it all before. And I just sort of started getting meetings with them, asking questions, and I've learned a lot, but I still have so much to learn. But my brother's trying to get me to start a venture fund. So he would really like me to because he's in the space as well. So maybe one day, but I don't like to start anything unless I'm like 100% confident that I can do it. So I want to wait until I feel more comfortable and I have more time to learn and I get the right team around me. All right, so maybe one day. Not right now.
You come back here when you're ready to make that announcement, Aly. We'll welcome with open arms. We're ready to have that conversation in the future, too. More than an athlete, two-time Olympian, Aly Raisman. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Certainly.